McKinley Dixon is a rapper who broke onto the underground rap scene, indie rap scene, pretty big in the 2021 release of his album that I thought was pretty good. It was pretty good. I liked it. I thought that there were lots of qualities to it that I really liked. I liked the jazz rap approach that he took. I thought the album didn't quite grip me as I think it did other people out there, but that's not to say that it wasn't worthwhile or wasn't good, because it definitely was. However, I think this new one is really the one that is hitting me harder. Beloved Paradise Jazz is really good. I do just think the production this time around has really stepped things up, has really amped things up. The jazz, the soul approach is fantastic. These tracks are honestly just glorious to listen to, just from a production standpoint, and the way that McKinley is rapping over these tracks as well is really engaging, and just pairing it with such lovable and likable production that it's just so hard to critique when you've got such lush instrumentation backing everything and such full instrumentation backing everything. It just really is a win-win for me with this kind of thing. I feel like most rappers should look to these kinds of albums and think, how can I get my production to follow a similar pattern? Because honestly, it's just a win-win. You could have the most rapidy lyrical, spiritual, miracle rapper out there who is just, nailing every word. But if the production isn't interesting, or they're just not very engaging over the production that they're rapping over, usually I tune out pretty quickly. I do feel like you need to pair things up really well. You need that production. You need that engagement, and this album, man, has got that in spades. The Sun I Rise track, again, the production is just so full of life, and the backing vocals as well that come on in the chorus are absolutely lovely. Like, there are some really well worked in features on this album, to be honest with you. Like, this everything just feels so purposeful, everything is just in its right place, and a track like this just is so nailed on for a great opener to the album, obviously after the sort of intro skit. Run, one of my favourite tracks on the album, easily. I absolutely love the piano keys that drive this melody. It is just such a sticky melody that really sticks with me, and I just have so much fun listening to this song, even if the subject matter is actually a little bit darker than perhaps what it may sound. But yeah, really like this track, man. The melody just will not leave my brain. So good. I love the part of the song as well, right at the end, where it just pauses and he goes bang, and then the keys come back in. That is such a great little bit. It's only like a small slither, small tiny portion of the song, but goddamn, do I love that little bit. I love little moments like that in music, even though it's just so insignificant to the rest of the song. It feels so big in its moment. It's so good. And yeah, I just really love the way he's rapping. At times, honestly, on this album, I'm not seeing much comparisons to this, but I feel like he raps a little bit like Quelle Chris at times, honestly. I don't know why I'm not seeing that comparison being made. It seems really obvious to me. But honestly, this track is just like Quelle Chris and Khalil Blue just combined, that more poppier, accessible side of Khalil Blue's music, the more fun side, coming through with the Quelle Chris combination. And of course, even a track like an album like Guns would have songs that are about similar topics like this track too. It just feels like a perfect marriage of two artists there. And if you've never listened to either of those, by the way, Quelle Chris or Khalil Blue, please bloody do. They're so good. The Live from the Kitchen Table track is basically amplifying what I was saying about the jazz production. That is just so brimming of excitement. The sax coming through is exceptionally good. And again, with the lovely vocals coming through too, it's just really good. The vocalist on the chorus sounds really dejected and really kind of like lifeless, but at the same time they're singing in such a lovely tone too, again marrying up with the sort of themes and the darker tones of this album as well. Again, with the penultimate track on this album as well, The Story So Far has the exact same qualities. I feel like I'm repeating myself with some of the things here, but with these separate features coming through, adding their own twist to things. Really nice little rap verse from this feature as well. I need to check this artist out more, Celine. I think their name is. Really, really good stuff here. Kind of reminds me of No Name with the way that they were rapping. But yeah, really, really good moment on this album. Again, just with how good the production is and how well he's rapping, I just can't really fault these tracks. I'm repeating myself, but a lot of them do similar things, that's why. However, though, there are a couple of tracks that I do have to mention that don't quite do the same thing, but they offer something really different. Like, as much as this album is kind of in a similar flow of sounds and ideas, Mezzanine Tipping is kind of off the scale with what it's going for. I couldn't find lyrics for this track, but I think he's saying fuck 12 over and over again, which obviously is a reference to police. You don't need me to tell you that. If you're aware of that, you would know. Of course, Run 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 having a similar sort of idea as well, perhaps running from the police. I guess both tracks are kind of coexisting in a similar narrative, but Mezzanine Tipping just goes harder with the way it's produced and how it sounds. Like, seriously sounds like maybe something JPEG Mafia would do, honestly. It's absolutely unhinged with how it sounds. It sounds really cool. Would argue that it doesn't fit this album, but I don't mind because it is just a really cool sounding song. And then Tyler Forever, which is just really urgent and frantic. I wonder who he's talking about really here. I kind of keep thinking he's talking about Tyler, the creator, but he's probably not. Perhaps there is a reference to a particular Tyler here that I'm just not aware of. Keep in mind too, I did struggle sometimes to find lyrics. Like on Apple Music, not every track had the lyrics, so I was kind of just having to listen to everything he was saying. I went on Genius and some of the tracks didn't have any lyrics there either. So yeah, I will argue that, you know, if you are wanting to listen to this album, you might not necessarily pick up on everything because you're not going to be able to read along with the lyrics while you're listening. Unless you can just pick it up without doing that, then that's cool. But sometimes I do miss little things here and there when I'm listening to music if I don't have the lyrics in front of me. Another really cool track anyway, after I've just done that whole tangent there. But yeah, the final track, closing track, the title track, excellent. Just so smooth with how it's so soulful. Again, it just captures everything that this album's done already. The hook is one of the best on the whole album. My God, it just feels like a celebration of jazz and the paradise of jazz rap, really. I just feel like it's just a beautiful end to this album. It's so fitting as a closing track. And all of this happens in like 29 minutes. It's super short, straight to the point. I've seen actually a few people argue that it should be longer, which I think is fair enough actually, because considering how good the music is, like, it's bloody brilliant, man. And I would not mind this going on for another 20 minutes. I really wouldn't. But the fact that it's so concise and it's so airtight, and I wouldn't really miss out on anything. I wouldn't skip anything. I'm actually okay with it being short. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes albums can pad things out and then you're like, maybe I could cut a couple of tracks off. This album doesn't leave any room for that. It's fantastic from start to end. And a comparison I need to make here as well before I sign this review off is Avondale Bowling Club. Seriously, man, some of these tracks really reminded me of some excellent Avondale Bowling Club songs, jazz fusion of this hip-hop sound. Avondale Bowling Club did excellently on the first album and then the album after. I don't think these tracks quite sound as live and as in the moment as those, but the sax, the horns, everything coming through on this album just really is expertly done, with a really strong rapper at the front of it all. Seriously, McKinley Dixon, becoming quite an underrated artist, really. He should be celebrated a lot more than he is. It's an 8 out of 10 from me. Absolutely love this thing. I think it could even grow on me further than that, actually. But for now, I think it's great. One of the best albums of the year. So far, I would say this is the rap album of the year too. There's not been a great deal of competition up until this point as of recording. I will say in 2023, I don't think hip hop's having a particularly good year. I know a lot of people have been, talking about how it's not making much of a splash even in the mainstream, there aren't really there hasn't been like a number one single in the rap, from a rap song, sorry, this year, and that's like broken a record for like 30 something years or something crazy like that. But even in the underground, I'm not exactly hearing a lot of brilliant rap albums. So I'm really, really impressed with this one. This is definitely one I'm going to be celebrating for the year. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments, because I think this could be quite a fan favourite, a cult favourite for the music nerds and the indie rap lovers out there. I think I'm going to be echoing a lot of what people are already saying, but I'm so glad I'm on board with what people are saying as well, because this is so good. Really, really good stuff here. Check it out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Have a good day. Subscribe, and goodbye.